All right, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is an absolute honor to have you here in our video today. All right, so what I'm going to be speaking about is something that you need to know when it comes to healing your inner child that so many people are overlooking in our today's time. This has everything to do with soothing your inner child in comparison to becoming the parent that you've always needed to be for yourself. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right in. What exactly is it that I'm referring to with this subject today? There's a lot of people that think as long as I can become aware of my inner child, then that means I can soothe it whenever it gets triggered or whenever it's feeling hurt. And as long as I can soothe this part of me, then that means I'm healing. And that means I'm doing the right thing. And I'm going to be able to completely regulate my nervous system and live the life that I truly want to live. Okay? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that becoming aware of your inner child and being able to connect with it and be more present with it, and then also soothing it at times isn't a good thing. There's absolutely a value to that. And that is, without a shadow of a doubt, a step in the right direction. But what's also really important to know is that just soothing your inner child isn't going to resolve the core wound of the inner child trauma. Let me give you an example of what I mean by this. Imagine you have a really abusive auntie or uncle, and let's say you're 10 years old, and your parents know that this auntie and uncle are abusive to you. Sometimes they say things that are inappropriate. Sometimes they actually hit you. They're just not healthy people to be around. And the 10-year-old you knows that. You're like, I don't want to go there at all. I don't really like them. But your mom or your dad says, well, I know that they're abusive to you, and I know that they hurt you, but we still need to go anyways because this is family. And, this is a family gathering, and we do this every year, at least once a year. So this is like your parent sort of dragging you to their home. And then, of course, auntie and uncle, they start abusing you. They start doing what they normally do, nothing out of the ordinary, and it's hurtful. So you're going through the neglect, you're going through the shame, you're going through the criticisms, you're going through some of the physical abuse, and the next thing you know, your mom or your dad comes up to you and they say, hey, I'm sorry you're going through what you're going through. I want you to know everything's going to be okay. We're almost done here. We're going to be leaving soon. And then deep down, you're like, okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. That sounds good. But then there's another part of you that's like, why are we even here in the first place? Like, why are we actually here? This is ridiculous. I don't like this. This doesn't feel right. It does not feel good. But at the same time, you're still being soothed by mom or dad. But mom or dad was the one that brought you into the environment, brought you into the experience. So even though they're soothing you, they're still the one that brought you into the experience. So that's why this is sort of like the root of an inner conflict on both ends. Inner conflict for you as the child, the 10-year-old that's in the experience. You can't tell, is mom or dad, are they with me or against me? They brought me into this, but now they're soothing me while we're here, telling me it's going to be okay. So there's an inner conflict there. Then there's an inner conflict for mom and dad, where it's like, I know auntie and uncle are hurting my child, and I don't like that. And I really don't want to necessarily see that happen or have that take place. But I also feel obligated to be here for the family. Because if I don't show up for my family this way, then that must mean I'm abandoning my family. And then they might think of me in a bad way. So there's an inner conflict for the parents as well. So obviously this is a big analogy and it's a big example of something that actually mirrors internally for us that are doing this deeper work. When we are trying to work with our inner child and we're becoming conscious of it and we're sensing when it's getting hurt or when it's feeling triggered or when it really needs our presence, that's a beautiful thing when we become aware of that and we can actually start being more present with it and spending more time with it and being there. But if we're also doing the things that are causing the inner child to be hurt in the first place, no matter how much we're soothing our own inner child, we're still the ones that are actually triggering it in the first place. So this could literally show up as you having an unhealthy relationship with a romantic partner or with a social circle, a friend group, where you know that this relationship isn't healthy. It keeps streamlining a sense of criticism, sense of judgment, a sense of shame, a sense of dishonesty. Overall, there's this deep sense of I'm not safe in this relationship. But at the same time, this relationship reflects early childhood wounding and family dynamics. So it feels very normal for you, and it feels quite, what we would say, familiar. So even though it's an unsafe relationship, there is a part of you that sees it as normal, and that's why you keep returning back to it. Now, as you're in that relationship, there are little streamlines of abuse and little streamlines of neglect and little things that are happening that are actually hurting your inner child and flashing you back to those memories in your past where your inner child experienced that abuse. So, in the present moment, as you're an adult, you may be in a relationship that is a direct manifestation of an early childhood trauma pattern, and you're actually cycling in that pattern by being in this relationship because every time they're abusing you and neglecting you, saying certain things, doing certain things where you just don't feel safe, it's actually flashing your inner child back into the memory, locking it deeper into the past, into that trauma. Now, a lot of the times we don't understand this. We don't know that this is what's happening for those of us that kind of can find ourselves in these cycles. But if you're someone that's becoming more self-aware, yes, soothing your inner child can be valuable and it can be important. But if you really want to heal the inner child and change your life and actually start regulating your nervous system authentically, this means that you're going to have to change your foundation and change your lifestyle, which means you have to become the leader and the parent that you've always needed for yourself. And now you're becoming that for the younger versions of you that never ever had it. So what this would look like is, oh, if I'm in a relationship that is an unhealthy dynamic and I can see it's not safe, then it's my responsibility to recognize that, to have a boundary where I need to have a boundary, and to let go of familiar patterns and familiar energy that no longer resonates with me taking care of my inner child and no longer resonates with that type of behavior and that type of experiencing. So this is what you actually have to do to start showing your inner child that you are a safe leader and that you are a safe parent so that it can fully unfreeze itself from the past traumatic memories and move into the present moment where you are now a different person and you are protecting your inner child properly. So, a big part of this rewiring here is literally showing yourself that you are living a different life. You are living a different reality. You're not living in the past. And even though technically you're not living in the past, because obviously the past is the past, but you can be living in the present with familiar patterns from the past that keeps wounded parts of you thinking you're still in the past. Even though technically you're not, you're an adult, you're in the present. There's probably some differences, but the patterns that you're still attaching to, that you're not working on, that you're not addressing, and ultimately you're not changing, are showing the wounded inner child parts of you that you're still stuck in the past. And that basically keeps them frozen where they are in those traumatic memories. And that has a direct effect on your subconscious and on your nervous system, and of course, how you feel. And that can turn into a negative feedback loop until you start to become a different version of you, a more self-committed, authentic embodiment version of you that says, I am done with that relationship. I am not going to allow my inner child being treated that way anymore. And it is my responsibility to be the one that sees that, recognizes the familiarity of it, has a boundary with it, and then starts the process of letting it go. This is how you actually heal and how you change. Just soothing the inner child isn't enough. It's one step on the path, but you can't keep re-experiencing these toxic cycles over and over and over and think that as long as I soothe my inner child, everything's going to be fine. No. You have to show your inner child that you are a different person now. You are living a different life now. You are a worthy leader and parent for that inner child to trust you, and then ultimately be willing to leave from the past to come with you into this new life in the present moment. That is the key. When we're not being that inner parent or that inner leader that we all know deep down that we need to be and that we can be, we are also amplifying other protector parts of ourselves. So between the protector parts and the exiled parts, both of these classifications of parts are all connected to the inner child. So when you're not being that leader that you know you can be for your system and for your parts, that activates and overstimulates your protector parts, which means they start entering into these really extreme roles of basically saying, well, if you're not going to lead your system and you're not going to be the parent that you need to be, then we will do it for you. Even though we're still parts of your inner child, which means we're like a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old, we're going to figure out a way to survive this and we will take charge. This is what our own protector parts of us will actually do. And this is why they will develop very oftentimes unhealthy ways to survive. I'm going to start people pleasing to survive this situation because you're not willing to take responsibility and have boundaries and let go. I guess the only way we can survive this is we have to learn to survive the game of this stress. So since you're not going to leave this person that's obviously hurting you, we're going to learn to people please them, because that'll keep you safe. As long as you can please them, you're not going to get as much abuse and as much neglect. So we're going to learn to please them. We're going to learn to try to fix people and change people, because, hey, as long as we can try to fix them, then maybe one day we won't be as abused or as hurt anymore by them. You know, maybe one of these protector parts says we're going to be a little bit more narcissistic. We're going to be so consumed with ourself and our identity and have to prop ourselves up in this grandeur type of way and basically live in a fantasy, because all this other stuff isn't safe. And there's a lot of unhealthy things going on, and this is the only way we can see safety. So you might have a protector part of you that says we're going to be a narcissist, or we're going to be more narcissistic. And meanwhile, all these protector parts of self, they're just trying to protect you. And they're doing it, and they're taking on these parentified extreme roles in your nervous system because you're not being the parent that you need to be for you and your system. And those parts of you are not going to trust you. They're going to need to start trusting you and seeing that you are that person. And that's why doing parts work can be so important and can be so valuable. But imagine everything that I just explained now and not being aware of any of it. How many people are living their lives right now, every single day, without any education or awareness on what I just explained? So that can cause, a whole host of confusion within the system, a whole host of dysregulation and not understanding what's going on in life and why it's happening the way it is. And there's a formula, there's a process. We have to build relationships with these protectors. We have to see them in our system and see them as separate from us so that we don't blend with them and identify with them. Once they start to trust us by us connecting with them and having a sense of acceptance for them, then we have more access to self energy. Then from our self energy, we get to connect with our exiled parts, the parts that are the wounded inner child parts that are actually frozen in the traumatic memory, carrying the pain still. And then once we start connecting with the exiles and integrating the pain they've been holding on to, that's when we actually free our system. And that's where the regulation really starts to occur. So you can imagine, with all of this that I just explained here, just soothing the inner child while still having your foot in the realm of toxicity and keeping those patterns alive is not enough. You have to literally become the person you're meant to be. You have to commit to yourself, and you have to honor your process and honor your inner system and be that parent that you've never had for you. That's the message. Okay. Now, with that being said, if you're looking for a step-by-step process to follow that's going to really help you understand how to build a healthy foundation, and then educate yourself on all of the different nuances of your parts, your early childhood trauma, and also how your nervous system functions so that you can better regulate it, go to the third link in the description below. That's my Patreon. I have a trauma course that takes you from start to finish, video by video, everything you need to know. And I guarantee you are going to get value from it as long as you commit to yourself when you go through that process. So there's your opportunity. Now, this is very unique. At tier number 3 of the Patreon, third link below tier number 3, this is called a nervous system healing ritual. And it's something that I do on the 29th of every single month. It is a remote energy transfer from me to you as the receiving participant that's designed to surface trapped trauma that is currently in your body, to bring it to your conscious awareness so that you can start working with it, understanding it, ultimately feeling it, and then releasing it from your system. Once that trapped energy gets released from your system, it helps you to ground more into yourself again, and then your nervous system can start regulating. As your nervous system starts to regulate, that drastically affects your energetic resonance, which has a positive influence on everything else around you and what you're attracting when it comes to relationships, finances, environments, working situations, all of these different things. But you have to be willing to go through the process, and this is not a quick fix and it's not a hack. It's a real energetic catalyst that's going to bring up some heavy stuff. But if you're willing to work with it and process it and release it, it could very much so change your life for the better. So if you're interested in that, I would be honored to be a part of that process with you. And now is the time to sign up for it for this month. Okay? So that is once again tier number 3 of the third link below. Now, at the first link in this description, this is the Cycle Breakers community. This is a group of us that are doing this inner work, committed to the inner process, embodying our authentic selves and regulating our nervous systems to create lives that are the most fulfilling lives for us to be living. If you're someone that resonates with this, I would be honored to have you in that community. It's completely free to join. All you have to do is answer 3 different questions. And as long as you answer those questions and you're in alignment with the intentions of the group, I would be honored to invite you in. So definitely look into that. It's an active community. And it's a fun and safe place to be for people that are doing this work and are looking to create new relationships and friendships and share ideas that are around these subjects. Okay. The second link below is where you can book a one-on-one call with me, or you can do mentorships. This is the most intimate and impactful way to currently work with me. I get to know you on a personal level. I get to support you in processing trauma that is rooted in your childhood wounding. I get to help you develop a foundation for you specifically to better process that energy. And then as we're doing that processing over the video calls, that starts to regulate your nervous system over time and your life improves for the better. If that's something that you're interested in, I would be honored to work with you. Second link below. Now, with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day or night, wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video. Later.